My sister had a baby last week, and she and her husband were so clear. They were like, no family in the delivery room except for us. And at the time, her mother-in-law like replied to that email and was like, even other mommies? And my sister basically told her, like, in the politest way possible, fuck all the way off, right? So my sister goes into labor, and the hospital where she's planning to give birth just happens to be the same one that her mother-in-law works at as a head nurse in like a totally different unit. On the day my sister goes into labor, her mother-in-law uses her badge and credentials to get into the labor and delivery unit, get into my sister's room, and start ordering around her care team, being like, oh, she's only 3.5 centimeters dilated, like, come back in an hour. And she was there for the birth. You guys, I waited like 2 days because I didn't want to like tarnish my sister's memory of the birth, but I sat her down and I was like, you need to go no contact with this woman. Like, she violated a clear boundary. And while you're at it, like, why did your husband not advocate for you? To me, that's instant divorce. Obviously, that wasn't exactly what she wanted to hear. Now, I'm not allowed to see my nephew, and her mother-in-law still is. Make it make sense. I have half a mind, honestly, to go on the hospital's website and report this woman, get her license revoked, get her arrested, because what she did is so unacceptable. But I don't know if I'd be way out of line to do that.
Another reason why, like, just little things happened that why I really didn't like your mom back then. I was giving birth to Penelope, and I let his mom be in the room to watch me give birth, which that was also a huge issue. I was like, I don't want your mom in the room. Like, I only want you and
she didn't get along with my mom at that time.
I was like, I only want you and my mom in the room. Like, you're my husband and my mom, like, for emotional support. And he's like, I want my mom in the room. I'm like, no, it's not about you. It's my mom. Like, I want her in the room. I was like, no, like, it's not about you. And like, he didn't really understand, like, when you give birth, it's about the wife. Like, it's about the mom. She's the one giving birth. She's the one going through things physically, mentally. Like,
whatever she's comfortable with is the most important
what
thing.
you have to support. And that wasn't the case at the moment. Like, my water breaks, I go to the hospital, and my first time giving birth, I'm 19 years old, I'm having contractions. I remember having contractions, and I was like, I'm going to do a birth without epidural. So I tried to push it through as long as I could. And at the time, I was just so focused on like my contractions that literally we had my mom, you, your mom, your brother, and your aunt, who I never fucking spoke to in my whole fucking life, in the room, watched my birth.
Because it's Cuban people. They just want to be like involved. They think everything's like just fine. Nothing's taboo. Everything's fine. I can see your vagina.
She would have had my back then. Like, all right, Bramty, like, you're about to give birth. Everybody out. Only what my wife wants. But you didn't have that mentality, and you just had your mom's back most of the time. So I remember I just wasn't even involved with like who was in the room. I remember pushing, and I remember your mom and your aunt taking pictures of my vagina while I am pushing, then to later find out that your aunt had sent those pictures to family members.
Yeah. Scott says that you're not going to circumcise my grandson.
Quite honestly, Deborah, my child's genitals are none of your business.
Well, it's not hygienic.
Well, we've made the informed decision to not circumcise our son, and you're just...
I circumcised all my sons for...
Well, I didn't ask you what you did, and we've researched this, and this is the decision that we've decided to go with.
Oh,
and
so you're judging my decisions as a mother?
I'm not judging anything that you did 35 years ago. We are talking about today.
You're judging me!
Some of y'all wondering why that lady don't like you. You wondering, why does my son's grandmother not like me? Why does my man's mom don't like me? Since I met her, I've been respectful. I came in her house respectful. I'm kind to her. I'm good to her son. I'm a great mother to her grandson. Why does this lady not like me? Let me tell you, she don't like you because you trying to show her son something different than what she raised him up in. You have expectations and standards for her son that she didn't never have for him. And she's offended with the fact that you trying to show her son a different life, a different way to do shit than she did. That's what it is. You have a lot of mothers out here who have raised their sons to be disabled. Got their sons out here still depending on them in their mid-20s, early 30s to fill out job applications, to help them pay their bills, to make all kinds of decisions. And they'll be walking around talking about, my son still need this. They love it. They love for their sons to be needy. So when they get a woman in their life that's like, oh, you know, I can help him do that, but more importantly, I'm going to tell him that he needs to learn it to do it himself, they can't stand that. It's like when I've seen some mothers talk about their daughters-in-law or their, you know, she got that house. She the one that won that house, got that man paying all them bills. She the one that's mad at their sons' women for having some damn expectations. But this is what'll really get you. A lot of times these women don't like you because you don't need them. They will like that ratchet baby's mother that is dependent on them, that they had to buy a crib for and everything. They will like her more than they will like the children's mothers that just need them to be a grandmother. I don't need you to help take care of my son. I just need you to be, they can't stand you because a lot of these mothers have a need to be needed, which is why they've disabled their children. They don't know what their life is without their sons calling and needing something from them, without them having to be able to say, I had to help my son do this. When you come in and now he's depending on you, or now you're his partner, they are offended by that. And if you are the type of woman that's like, oh no, I don't need you to do this. I never forget when I lived with my son's father, and his mother would literally try to call us every month, like, did y'all pay the electricity bill? Did y'all? Mind you, my mother ain't checked for me since I was 17, 18 years old. So I was like, whoa. I don't need you. Mind you, I was in my 30s. I was 35 when I had my son. So I'm literally like, I don't need you to remind me to pay my bills. We good. And because of that and other things, I'm telling you, I've never found favor with this woman. I had a baby shower, and I had 2 baby showers, one where I'm from and the second down here with his family. And when she saw all the things that my family gave me, she literally told me, I'm taking back everything I gave you. And she did. She took it all back. Why? Because it was like, oh, you don't need me. Where her other, they were much younger. They needed her in a different way than I did. And she's always resented me because I don't need her that way. And because of that, she also doesn't always treat my son that great or make him a priority or anything like that, because it's like he got his mama. So let me tell you, some of these mothers, they're not going to like you unless you dumb yourself down, unless you act like you need them and you going to just defer everything to them. But if you are your own woman and you out here living your life and you just truly need them to be a grandparent and that's it, you're going to have some problems in these streets with them, with these type of mothers. Not all of them, but these type of narcissistic, needy mothers that raise their sons to be dependent on them.
Finally home. Brittany, move. My baby Mark. Hi, Brittany. Hi, brand new grandchild. Brittany, not everything's always about you. My baby Mark, how are you? I know Brittany took a long time in the hospital. It's almost like she planned it that way. You okay? Are you in any pain from sleeping in those gosh awful conditions? Oh, I'm fine. It took a little longer than we thought, but Brittany did awesome. But, the baby was breached. We couldn't help that. Well, maybe if Brittany had let me be in the room like I asked, I could have helped. I don't think it would have made a difference, Linda. I mean, they already had a whole team of medical professionals in there helping. Again, not you, Brittany. I met my baby Mark. You must be so tired. Right. Well, I'm tired of this conversation. So here, babe, take the baby. I'm going to go lay down and try to take a nap. After everything he had to endure in the hospital, you just never give him a break, do you? Not to break my foot off in your ass.
What's the worst thing your mother-in-law has said to you?
This is his house. This is his house. He's paying for it. He can have whatever he wants in his house. It's just going to make things worse. Well, so he comes to our house. Bring the pajamas with him. It's over. The pictures is over. If he wants. And I have to do all kinds of stuff. And everybody and him and his sisters in the way. Oh, he's coming in the door.
What's the worst thing your mother-in-law has said to you? I'll go first. The very last message that my mother-in-law sent me before I blocked her forever was asking me, are you sure you haven't had too much? You should call Luke at work and tell him it's just too soon. Me being stupid, I thought she was talking about alcohol, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So I sent it to other people to interpret all of her messages. Mind you, she called me the devil. She called me the ultimate sinner. She basically made it very clear that she didn't want us together. Everyone interpreted it as if she was asking me if I've had too much of the relationship yet. Should I call Luke at work and just tell him I'm not ready to be married? It's too soon? Mind you, we've been married for 2 years.
Mother-in-laws. Sorry, not sorry, but I got some shit to address today. Now, before I get into that, let me just first state, I'm going to try to do this as respectfully but directly as possible. I want to know what it is that makes y'all think that as a grown man, you still have number one priority in this man's life. Ma'am, you had this man for 18 years. Anything that you needed to do with this man should have been done during those 18 years. If you slacked off during those 18 years, what makes you think that you can come step up now and expect to have a number one role in this man's life? This man right here, this man, that's my man, okay? If you got a man at home, that's your man. Tend to your man. You should be number one in your household, just like I'm going to be number one in mine. I'm the queen, period. Now, I will say this. Yes, you are due a certain amount of respect because you are his mother. You are the one that brought him in this world. Now, let's just keep it all the way real. You may not like me, but it ain't because of anything I lack to provide for your son or the way that I love him. It's because I don't bite my tongue. So let's just get to the facts here. You had this man in your care for 18 years. During those 18 years, he comes from a very damaged childhood. You know who deals with that today? I do. You know who still loves him every day? I do. You know whose life he's a priority in? Mine. So when you pop up, whenever you pop up, and think that you're going to take the number one role in front of me, that's out. Period. What I suggest is that you start joining forces with your daughter-in-laws. If that woman is loving that man correctly, and you can see that, give that woman her props. Because there's a lot of men that hold on to childhood trauma, and it's their spouse that now has to deal with it. Some which may have been caused by you. So instead of trying to make that woman uncomfortable or constantly battling with her about your role in this man's life, why don't you try having her back? Why don't you pull her to the side and let her know, hey, if you ever need me, I'm here for you. If he ever giving you a problem, let me know. I'll get in his ass. You his mama, right? Come on now, mother-in-laws. Y'all got to understand these positions that we take, we've earned that. If you see that that man, like I said, is loved correctly, he's happy, you need to understand that this is a battle you will not win. Period.